There are times you don't lose because your analysis was wrong, but because you believed this time you were in control. You'd studied enough, back-tested enough, won a few trades in a row, and then everything collapsed faster than you could even understand what had just happened. And in that moment, you begin to realize that trading doesn't operate the way you once believed it did. I once lost everything in a single night. Not because I was incompetent, not because I lacked a method, but because I was playing by rules set by someone else. That night, the MT screen flashed a line of bright red words, "Stop out." I froze. It felt as if someone had struck me straight in the chest, yet no one saw it. No one understood. $10,000 vanished in less than 15 minutes. In that room, there was only me, a computer, and a hollow emptiness so heavy I couldn't take a deep breath. I wanted to smash the screen, to scream at the top of my lungs, but in the end, I just sat there, motionless, and let the tears fall on their own. For the first time in my life, I felt completely powerless. Where had I gone wrong? How many courses had I taken? I had back-tested hundreds of trades. I once believed I understood the market, but in the end, I was nothing more than prey, in the truest sense of the word. And right in that moment of collapse, I realized something. Trading is not a game of indicators, nor is it a casino where you wait for luck. Trading is a battlefield, and if you step onto it without a strategy that is truly your own, you will die. I died once, and it was that death that made me begin to live again. Not just to survive, but to live freely. Free through trading, but not in the way most people do it. At that time, I thought I was already good enough. I had just won 3 consecutive gold trades. There was analysis, there were price patterns, there was risk management. And most importantly, I believed I was in control of the market. I was confident, even arrogant. I decided to place a large trade on the JPY-USD pair. Every signal was in favor. The news aligned with the trend, price action confirmed it, volume pushed up clearly. I entered without hesitation, tripling my usual position size. I loosened my stop loss a little, convinced that this time it had to be right. Price started to move, exactly in my direction. Profit ticked up every second. The screen flooded with green. I smiled. In my mind, I saw my account swelling, my life changing, freedom right in front of me. But less than 2 minutes later, everything reversed. A red candle appeared, then another, and then price plunged without restraint. I stared at the chart, reopened the economic calendar to check again. Nothing was out of the ordinary. The news came out exactly as expected, yet price moved in the opposite direction entirely. I began to lose control. I dropped down to lower time frames, searching for an explanation. I re-examined the patterns, reviewed every detail, but everything was still the same. Only one thing was changing: my account. It was evaporating. From $10,000 to $8,000, then $5,000. In less than 5 minutes, only $1,000 remained. I didn't dare blink. I sat there, stiff and unmoving, as the alert appeared in front of me. Margin call. I paused. I closed the laptop. I didn't cry. I wasn't angry, just silent. There were no words left to say, only a sigh so faint I could barely hear it myself. I lay there undeniably until morning, not opening the computer again, not touching my phone, not eating anything, and unable to sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, asking myself what the hell had just happened. Where exactly had I gone wrong? Why did I lose when everything seemed right? I remember that feeling clearly. It was like being pushed off the 10th floor, falling, but no one saw it. No one reached out a hand. Then another question surfaced in my mind. If all the indicators were giving clean signals, if the patterns were textbook, if the news was on one side, then why was I still losing money? I began to doubt, not the market, but the very things I had once believed were absolute truths. I no longer dared open MT, and I lost faith in the system I had spent so long learning. I slowly collapsed inside, and there were moments when I truly thought about quitting. I used to believe that if I learned enough, eventually success would come. But after that night, I realized that learning more does not mean understanding correctly. Trading is not a game of chance, but it is also not about applying formulas to a chart and waiting for money to fall into your lap. And right at the moment of losing everything, I began to see something. The market doesn't operate on theory. It operates on money, on where large capital flows, on those who control the game, whom I never saw. I didn't know who they were, but I knew one thing for certain. If I didn't understand the real rules of the game, I would remain nothing more than prey. After that night, I barely touched the charts for days. I muted all chat groups, stopped reading technical analysis, stopped watching videos telling me to buy or sell today. I was exhausted and completely lost. But in that silence, a small sense of curiosity began to appear. I went back to the past, not to blame myself, but to trace back to the root of why I had failed. I reopened my losing trades. I studied every single candle. I marked every moment when the market suddenly reversed. And I noticed something strange. So many times, right before the market moved in the direction I had analyzed, it would create a false break and then turn around. It hit my stop loss first, and only after that did it continue. It set traps, and I was always the first to be caught. I began to dig deeper into those concepts. Names I had once ignored, like liquidity zones, stop hunts, smart money traps, failed breakouts, crowd psychology, the patience of the big players. I read, I reflected, and little by little, I touched a truth that was not very comfortable. It wasn't the market that betrayed me. I was participating in a game's rules I had never fully understood. I thought I was trading, but in reality, I was just a pawn on the board, where the smaller pieces are always the first to be sacrificed. I came to understand that the market is not simply about buying on breakouts and selling on breakdowns, because that is what most retail traders know. And precisely because everyone knows it, it becomes the trap. The fake pullbacks, the sudden spikes, the levels that break and then reverse, all of it has a reason. They are part of the strategy of those who truly control the flow of money. And from that point on, I decided I would no longer chase new indicators. I would not look for another strategy with flashy win rates. I wanted to understand who was really behind the scenes, pulling the strings of the market. I began to learn how to observe money flow. I studied how the big players enter their trades. I stopped obsessing over whether to buy or sell. What I wanted to know was who they were trying to lure into a trade and where the trap was set. I began writing down every moment when price pierced through a support zone and then snapped straight back. I marked the price areas with heavy liquidity where stop losses were often swept. Gradually, I started to see a pattern of manipulation, and for the first time in many months, I felt something I thought I had lost: clarity. I no longer saw the market as a cruel force. I began to see it as a chessboard. Every false breakout was a move, every stop sweep was a sacrifice, and if I wanted to survive, I had to stop being the one led by the nose. I had to become the observer, not the reactor. From that point on, I stopped rushing into trades. I was no longer afraid of missing out. I understood that what mattered was not entering early, but entering at the right moment, after the market had finished sweeping the crowd. And from that very moment, I began redesigning my entire way of trading, not following any ready-made system, not following what anyone taught me, but following what I could actually see unfolding. When I started viewing the market as a psychological game, everything changed. I stopped looking for perfect entries. I began looking for where the market was setting traps, and I noticed a pattern that repeated itself again and again. Whenever price broke through a strong support or resistance level, if too many people rushed in the same direction, the market would often reverse very quickly right after. At first, I thought it was just coincidence, but after recording hundreds of charts, I understood it wasn't random, it was a strategy. Those who control the flow of money do not enter trades the way we do. They need liquidity to fill large positions, and liquidity only appears when enough people are lured in. So what do? They create false breakouts. They make you believe price is exploding. You enter the trade, you place your stop loss where you believe it is safest, and at the moment you feel most at ease, price turns and takes your money. I built my strategy from those very observations. I call it a contrarian crowd psychology strategy. I do not enter on the first move. I wait until the crowd has already rushed in. I watch volume, I watch price action. I look for signs of the sweep, usually an abnormal candle, high volume, and a very fast reversal. Only then do I begin preparing to enter in the opposite direction of the crowd. I don't use RSI, I don't use moving averages, I don't use Fibonacci. All I need is a clean chart, volume, and patience. I redraw the zones where stop losses are likely concentrated. I set alerts there, not to enter trades, but to observe how the market reacts. If price pushes through that zone and then reverses quickly with a sudden surge in volume, I treat it as a stop sweep. I enter in the opposite direction. My stop loss goes beyond the swept zone, where smart money has already passed. My take profit is always modest. I don't get greedy. At first, I thought this approach would go nowhere because it went against almost everything I had ever learned. But the more I applied it, the more I saw profits come in quietly, not large, but consistent. I no longer lost money on meaningless trades. I no longer let my emotions pull me around. My hands no longer shook when the market became volatile. There were days when I took just one trade and still ended up profitable. There were weeks when I traded only 3 times and my account still grew. That was when I began to feel what trading truly meant. No chasing price, no panic, no need for a high win rate, just choosing the right moment, right after the crowd had been swept clean by the market. I'm not saying this strategy is perfect, and I'm not telling you to copy it. What makes it effective isn't secrecy, but understanding. I understand why I enter a trade. I know what I'm betting on, and I accept the risk. Trading is a profession, and like any profession, it requires time, experience, and painful lessons that leave you in tears. No course taught me this strategy. No YouTuber laid it out plainly. I learned it myself by observing, absorbing, and living through it. And it's how I make a living. When I first applied this strategy, I wasn't trying to get rich. I just wanted to stop losing money. I set very small goals. Each week, just a few $100,000, just enough to prove to myself that I could win consistently without relying on luck. For the first time in months, I opened my trading platform with a different mindset. No longer a gambler, but a craftsman, meticulous, patient, and deliberate. I funded a very small account again, just 5 million VND. I traded demo alongside it to test the strategy. I didn't enter trades on impulse. I set alerts at zones where stop traps were likely to form. When the market swept stops, I didn't enter immediately. I watched 1 or 2 more candles. Only when volume surged and the reversal was clear did I take the trade. I kept my risk at 1%. Each time I lost a trade, I stopped. No revenge trading, no forcing the next entry, no frustration. In the first week, I made $30. Sounds laughable, right? But I was as happy as if I'd made $2,000 because it was the first time I'd ever made a profit from a system I fully trusted. Not from luck, not from chasing news, not from following signal groups. Every decision came from my own observation. I kept going. The second week, I was profitable again, still small, but no losses. In the third week, one trade went wrong and I cut the loss exactly where I planned. No panic. After 3 months, the account grew from $7,000 to $8,000. Not fast, but stable. And more importantly, I felt in control. By the 4th month, I did something I had once been most afraid of. I withdrew money. I withdrew $500 just to remind myself that trading can create real money if you do it right.
And then it happened. One week, the market printed a textbook stop sweep on Euro USD. A strong bullish candle broke through the previous high. Volume was unusually large. Price stalled for a few minutes, then dropped straight down. I entered a sell right after price retested the newly broken high. Tight stop loss. Take profit set near the old demand zone. It was a clean trade, the kind I had trained for over months. The result? Nearly $2,000 in profit in a single morning. I didn't cheer. I didn't take screenshots to show off. I just sat there, watching the chart, and took a deep breath. For the first time in many months, I felt truly free. Not because of the money, but because I knew I had control over my psychology, a clear strategy, and I was no longer a victim of the market. I began to believe that you don't need a huge account to live from trading, that trading more doesn't make you better, and that trading longer doesn't guarantee success. Success is understanding yourself, understanding how the market really works, and not letting emotions drive decisions that require clarity. If you're listening to this part, I believe you're not just looking for a strategy. Maybe you're looking for understanding, for a way to keep going, or a way to stand back up after a fall. I don't have a 3-step formula to make money. I don't dare promise fast wealth. I only have a story, a journey, and lessons paid for with blood and tears. Trading is not a place to satisfy emotions, nor a tool to escape reality. Trading, when done right, is a profession, and like any profession, it takes time, experience, and yes, blood, tears, and moments of losing everything. To begin understanding, I once went broke. I once sat alone in the night, not knowing whether I should continue or stop the next day. I used to think this market was only for people with big money, teams, trading bots, and indicators treated like holy relics. But I realized that wasn't true. The market doesn't care who you are. It only punishes those who don't understand and those who think they already do. What saved me wasn't luck, and it wasn't any sophisticated tool. It was the courage to look straight at my own mistakes, to strip away all the polished layers, professional analysis, high win rate strategies, perfect risk management, and ask a single question: do I truly understand how the market operates? I'm not perfect. I still lose sometimes, but I no longer lose control. I know when to stay out, when to wait. I'm no longer obsessed with having to trade every day. I can live from trading because I understood one very simple thing. The market doesn't need you to be better than others. It only needs you to stop hurting yourself. If you're going through a losing phase, stop. Take a few days away from trading. Reopen your old charts and ask yourself why you lost. Was that trade truly a good one, or just an emotional entry? And are you playing by someone else's rules? If the answer is yes, don't be afraid. I've been there too. The good news is that you can always start again from the beginning, one step at a time, one trade at a time. All it takes is the courage to look honestly at yourself and the willingness to strip away every illusion of ease. The strategy I use was taught by no one. It isn't sold in any course, and it isn't written in any book. It's the result of hundreds of mistakes, thousands of hours of observation, and millions paid directly to the market as tuition. If you want to go fast, you'll fall hard. If you want to go far,
go slow. Trading is a journey, and it is certainly not for everyone. But if you're still listening at this point, maybe you're not someone who gives up easily. And if that's true, I believe you can make a living in this profession, not because you're better than others, but because you're patient enough to learn from your own falls. I'm not the most successful trader out there, but I'm proud that I didn't quit. And if you need one sentence to keep going, remember this: the strong are not those who have never lost, but those who have lost everything, stood back up, and never allow themselves to lose in the same way again. If what I've shared in this video helps you see the market more clearly, then the next video on quiet trading will go deeper into how I read large money flow and avoid the market's traps. Subscribe if you want to walk this path for the long term. No empty theory, only real experience. And if you've ever lost, ever climbed back from the bottom of your account, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. Your story might become the motivation someone else needs. If you found this video useful, consider sharing it with a friend who's trading too. You might be helping them not give up today. See you in the next video on Quiet Trading, where traders who truly understand each other meet.